You walk into a room, the door closes behind you, and then nothing. No hum of traffic, no distant voices, no refrigerator buzzing in the next room, just silence. Within a few minutes, something strange happens. Your heartbeat feels louder. Your own breathing starts to bother you. Some people start hearing a faint ringing that isn't actually there. A few people in the quietest room ever built couldn't stand it for more than 45 minutes. That room exists. It's called the anechoic chamber at Orfield Laboratories in Minnesota, and it holds the record for the quietest place on Earth. And here's the strange part. It's not dangerous. Nothing in that room can hurt you. And yet your brain reacts like something is very, very wrong. Why would total silence feel like a threat? The answer isn't really about sound at all. It's about what silence takes away. For most of human history, silence was never actually silent. Even at night in a forest, there was wind moving through leaves, insects calling, water somewhere in the distance. Total, absolute silence essentially did not exist in the natural world our brains evolved in. So when your brain encounters it now, it doesn't interpret it as peaceful. It interprets it as data missing. Your auditory system isn't just for enjoying music or hearing someone talk. It's a threat detection system that never turns off, even while you sleep. Neuroscientist Josef Rauschecker, who has spent decades studying how the brain processes sound at Georgetown University, has described hearing as the sense most tied to vigilance, because unlike vision, it works in every direction, at all times, even in the dark. You can close your eyes, you cannot close your ears. So think about what happens when that stream of information suddenly stops. Your brain isn't built to interpret silence as safety. It's built to interpret silence as something worse. A predator that has gone quiet on purpose. In one of the most well-known findings in sensory research, when external sound essentially disappears, your brain doesn't just go quiet along with it. It starts turning up its own internal gain, searching harder for a signal that isn't there. This is part of why people in extremely quiet environments start to hear their own blood flow, their own pulse, sometimes even a faint ringing that audiologists call an artifact of the auditory system, compensating for missing input, not an actual external sound. Psychologist Stephen Orfield, who designed the chamber that now bears his lab's name, has explained that most visitors don't even last the length of a short meeting inside it before asking to leave. Not because it hurts, because the brain starts producing its own noise to fill a void it was never designed to sit inside. Now here's where it gets interesting historically. Ancient humans understood something about this, long before anyone had the word psychoacoustics. Go back tens of thousands of years and you'll find that early human settlements were almost never silent by design. Fires crackled through the night. People slept in groups close enough to hear each other breathing. Even burial sites and ceremonial spaces, places that modern people might expect to be hushed and still, were often filled with rhythmic drumming, chanting, or crackling fire, specifically because total silence was associated with abandonment, with danger, with being alone in a place predators could reach you. Cognitive archaeologist Stephen Mithen, who has studied how early human cognition shaped ritual and sound, has argued that rhythmic sound likely played a role in early social bonding. Long before complex language existed, humans using shared sound to signal that a group was intact, awake, and safe. Silence in that world wasn't neutral. Silence often meant something had gone wrong. That instinct never left us. It's just been buried under modern life, where actual silence has become rare enough that we forgot we're supposed to be uneasy around it. Which raises an odd question. If our brains are wired to distrust silence, why do so many people pay for noise machines, meditation apps, and quiet retreats specifically to relax? Here's the distinction almost nobody makes. What most people call silence isn't actually silent. A meditation room still has faint airflow, distant birds, the soft texture of a fan somewhere. What your nervous system is calming down in is not the presence of zero sound. It's the absence of threatening sound. A total sensory void, the kind found in an anechoic chamber, is a completely different experience because your brain has nothing to confirm that the environment around you is safe. No footsteps to track, no wind to indicate the world outside still exists. Just the sound of your own body, amplified, with nothing to compare it to. This is also why solitary confinement, even without physical harm, is considered one of the most psychologically damaging experiences a person can endure. Researchers studying extended isolation have repeatedly found that the removal of ambient sensory input, not just social contact, contributes significantly to distress. Silence alone doesn't cause the damage. The absence of any signal that the world outside is still there does. So the next time you're in a hotel room at 3 a.m. and it feels a little too quiet, and you find yourself turning on the TV just for background noise, that's not a bad habit. That's tens of thousands of years of evolutionary wiring, quietly reminding you that a world with no sound at all was never supposed to feel safe. You walk into a room, the door closes behind you, and your brain, older and wiser than you give it credit for, is already listening for something that isn't there.